Dynamite Comics and Ethan Van Sciver recently decided to end their continuing business relationship. I have some observations about this, making this video, and we'll start by looking at a couple of these articles in the Beat to just show how delusional comic book media has become, and a lot of the comic book industry. It's become absolutely ridiculous. The industry used to be about making good comic books that creators were passionate about making. It was really a very short time that it was an incredibly profitable business to be in during the early 1990s. Occasionally there'd be a hit project that would come out that would make the creators a fortune or make the publishers a fortune, but mostly it's just an industry where people are passionate about telling stories about characters they're passionate about, whether they're legacy characters for many, many years like Spider-Man or the X-Men, or characters of their own. But now the comic book industry has been invaded by people that want to change it into some endless project to give chances to people that didn't earn them based on merit. They want to erase the entire concept of merit. They want to erase the entire concept of doing business competitively to produce a financial profit. And that's depraved. It's absolutely depraved to try to remove merit and profit earning from the operation of a business. It will destroy the business. There are no free chances. There are no endless chances. There can always be charity, but there's no way to deserve an opportunity that you don't earn based on merit. That is completely unsustainable. It will cause absolute destruction and collapse. Before we get into this first article, if you want to support my work, there's a really well done book called College of the Dead, Graduation Day. It's at collegeofthedead.com. Link is in the description. It's full color. It is a highly meritorious book, very well written, very well drawn, very hardworking creators that I collaborated with to get this book out on time and get it done and shipped out to you. And the first is available as well, the first in this series. This is the second in the series. The third in the series is being worked on. Also, you can support the mermaids. Sign up at epicmermaids.com. This project is not launched yet, but you can sign up. It'll be launched soon. We're just finalizing some of the details. It's full color, 48 pages with a beautiful 6-panel grid. Excellent storytelling. I'm sure you'll love it. Getting back to the article. So this is coming from The Beat. This is the most recent article on the subject. And this is coming from Diana Destito. Okay, and let's see what Diana in her great wisdom has to say. Dynamite issues a statement in response to creator and reader backlash. Now, there was very, very little reader backlash. Yet, there was a lot of, quote, creator backlash. There's a lot of backlash from comic book creators that were not hired on their merit, for the most part. Some were. For the most part, they were not. They were hired because they participate in cancel culture. They participate in the depraved enjoyment of power that people received by hurting other people. They get together in groups. This is your definition of cancel culture from dictionary.com. Cancel culture refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support for, canceling, public figures and companies after they've done or said something considered objectionable or offensive to that mob group. That's my edition. Offensive to them. Cancel culture is generally discussed as being performed on social media in the form of group shaming. Evil, evil, disgusting work. This is what communist countries do that then go and start killing people. That's what they do. If you don't know that's what they do, research what the hell were these guys called? The Red Guard in China. There's endless examples of it. That's what they're a part of. Evil, hate, power-driven destruction of innocent people that a mob decides they don't like. Disgusting mob mentality. All right, back to the article. The publisher has faced a wave of criticism following association with a high-profile member of the Comicscape movement. This is Ethan Van Sciver, which they're afraid to mention his name because they're maniacs. Because they can't cancel him. Because they've tried and they continue to try. But they can't cancel Ethan Van Sciver because Ethan Van Sciver is focused on serving his customers. And he likes to help and support his friends, and that's what he does. That's how simple it is. So why can't cancel culture? Why can't The Beat? Why can't whoever, Kwanzaa, whoever? Why can't they stop Ethan Van Sciver? Because Ethan Van Sciver is focused on his client, and he's always been focused on his client. That's why he succeeded at DC. And this is not a matter of being supportive or not supportive of Ethan. This is a matter of Ethan knowing exactly where his bread is buttered. Yes, he's passionate about his creative work, and he puts a lot of energy into his work, and he wants to do his creative work, but he never disappoints his customers, whether it's DC or it's his individual diverse base of customers now, his thousands and thousands of customers that want to support his creative endeavors. That's the secret of Ethan Van Sciver, and if you want some of his success or even more than his success, you adopt that mentality, and then you are bulletproof forever. You're unstoppable as long as you always continue to serve your customers. A little over a week after multiple creators withdrew their support and work from Dynamite Entertainment over the publisher's partnership with a creator with strong ties. What a disgusting person. A hate group is something that's not defined by idiots with cancel culture. A hate group is defined by the FBI. A hate group are people who go and they do cancel culture and they hate people because they just don't agree with them in a free society. That's the hate group. The publisher has issued an official statement regarding their decision and the subsequent fallout. Now, Dynamite Entertainment is run by Nick Barucci. Nick Barucci used to have a company called Dynamic Forces. Nick has always been able to kind of leverage his position. He's been around since the 1990s, the early 1990s, doing things like signed comics from Marvel or DC with special editions. And Nick has been successful. He's been successful at figuring out how to hustle and how to make money. Hustling and making money is what you do when you're self-employed. When you're not getting free handouts because you're a part of a weird power fantasy group who complain that you need an extra free something or an extra free that. Hustlers like Nick Barucci are going to always respect the hustle of people who are out there making money. As long as they can. But one thing that a hustler knows is that you can only hustle as long as the big guys let you. So if Nick Barucci is going to see problems from his licensors, or he's going to see problems from relationships with Marvel or DC or some other big money relationship that he thinks he needs to have, or that his reputation gets damaged and he may not be able to hustle anymore, then Nick Barucci is going to start saying, hey, wait a minute. All right, they're kind of onto me. I better stop this. Nick Barucci likes making money. He's always liked making money. To the extent that I know of, he's been able to continue in business this way. And, good for him. He was able to start in publishing and have success because he's made industry relationships, and he also did something brilliant. Nick Barucci was the first major publisher to have his own direct-to-consumer mailing list. So he sold a lot of his Dynamite books. Well, previous to Dynamite was Dynamic Forces. He sold a lot of them direct-to-consumer, making a lot of money. You get the full retail price, and you also get an understanding of what the market will bear in terms of high prices. So when Nick had the opportunity eventually to start Dynamite, how brilliant to go ahead and use his email lists and his mailing lists of his existing customer bases. That's what anybody in normal business would do, to go and start a publishing company and do it carefully and leverage all of his existing business to be able to do that. That doesn't happen because Nick is Italian. So someone says, oh, Nick Barucci, he's an Italian. We better give him a free license. Or I don't know, I'll just give him the rights to Vampirella from Harris Comics because he's Italian. Because Italians, and they did suffer when they first came to the United States. No, that's because Nick earned it based on merit of being a hustler and having relationships. Not to say that Nick did the right thing here. Nick knows his business. I have no idea what the right thing is to do. Should Nick have stood up to cancel culture mob? And I don't know all the circumstances of that. I don't know all the circumstances of all of his business relationships with anyone. However, this is reality. This is what happened. Nick exists on the fumes of other people for the most part. And that is not to denigrate Nick. Dynamite has been built into a successful company. However, he does not stand on his own in that success. If you remove all of Nick's creative relationships, there's nothing there, right? I mean, there's nothing else in that place. Here's the quote. Dynamite Entertainment is a partner in the fight for equality and inclusion. Okay. I mean, just think about how ridiculous that statement is, right? What would you imagine? What would anyone begin to imagine in reality? Dynamite Entertainment, Nick Barucci, could possibly do to create a system of equality and inclusion, whatever that even means. Every business, if they're operating based on merit and quality and keeping promises, is operating as a member and a successful member of creating a standard for equality and inclusion by definition. Not changing the rules so that incompetent people, if they are not competent, can't compete based on merit, can have an opportunity to damage the industry. Because it's a damage if you're not producing high quality work and delivering on your promises. It damages the marketplace. It means that people who go to spend money in that marketplace can't depend on the product they're going to get. Like when you go and you get a meal at a restaurant, you want a quality meal at that restaurant. If the meal is a disappointment, you're not going to want to go and trust that restaurant again. And if that happens in enough restaurants, you may decide, you know what, I don't need to keep going to restaurants. Our company was founded on these core values more than 15 years ago, and they're essential to the creative process, the visionary work of artists and entrepreneurs. The only way that the values of equality and inclusion are at all, in the most smallest way, important for entrepreneurs is if you apply everyone's work to the basis of merit and you give people opportunity and do not discriminate based on people's background, either for or against. You're not running an adoption agency when you're running a business. You should always give new people opportunity as much as you can afford to. You should always have a mentor process to appreciate bringing in new people and helping people learn that want to learn. That's an investment in the future. And if you're in a business where you don't have the capability of doing that, you don't have the time, whatever, you don't. But the successful companies do have an obligation to the market to be able, and to the industry, and to decency, to help people that want to learn, to teach them the ways of producing their own highly meritorious work. To continue, that we are passionate about. Okay, intolerance has no place in our company or industry. So no cancel culture. Those are the evil, intolerant people. The impulse behind this brief association was that of helping a friend of many decades and his family, and not how that assistance could potentially affect our valued colleagues, partners, and friends. Well, that's not true, and it would be helpful if Nick would have just been honest. The impulse was not, let me help Ethan Van Sciver. The impulse was, let me hustle and make money, which is what's always kept Nick Barucci alive, and good for him. He's supposed to hustle and make money, but be honest, man. Just tell people, yeah, I was making money off Ethan. Yeah, I was making money off printing other people's books. A lot of it, probably like maybe even a little too much. But that's okay. It's part of the hustle. No one was forced to work with Nick Barucci. People had an opportunity to work with Nick Barucci, and they chose to for as long as they did. That association is behind us. Us is who? Dynamite. And this time has strengthened our resolve to continue working with the most diverse talent in creating the best comics possible. Well, for all the wokies, for all the SJW cancel culture evil mentality creatures, just wake the F up. What Nick is telling you is, I'm telling you this nonsense you want to hear. Do you want to know why he worked with Ethan Van Sciver? To make money. Ethan Van Sciver represents money to Nick Barucci. That's why he worked with him. Did they know each other a long time? Yes, it's my understanding they knew each other a long time and had done business before. Back to the article. The statement still feels off. Cancel culture didn't get enough blood out of Nick Barucci. Deanna. The cover in question may have been the flashpoint of the backlash against Dynamite. She can't even explain herself properly. So let me help Deanna here. She's talking about the Cecil crossover cover with 2 Dynamite characters on it. That's the cover she's trying to talk about. But maybe she wasn't hired based on merit, so it's not her fault. You know, if you work and you learn how to do things based on merit, you're actually competent, and you don't have to rely on being a tool of a hate mob in cancel culture. You know, you don't have to be part of a hate mob. You can actually stand on your own quality. It's a great feeling. But the Publishers Association with creators who also associate with Comicsgate has been going on for years. Yes, dummy, it has been. And it's been alleged. Oh my God, it would be a crime. That Dynamite founder Nick Barucci has been assisting them behind the scenes for years. Well, that's already been explained. Nick likes making money, stupid. Is that hard for anyone to get? Nick likes making money. Making money is kind of important when someone else isn't paying all of your bills. That's it. While their roster of creators does point to inclusion, there are repeated associations with other comics professionals who are known to be against diversity. What are you talking about against diversity, you idiot? And to engage in targeted harassment. Okay, this article is a targeted harassment campaign. Known to engage in... What authority do you think, because you're part of cancel culture, because you're part of a hate mob, you think you have the exclusive right to determine who supports diversity or who doesn't? We support quality, and we support anyone who can produce work of merit. And anyone who wants to learn and who wants an opportunity to learn, there are a lot of people who are professionals, who are patient, who will help you to learn to produce work based on merit. You don't have to join a hate mob to get work. Make it hard to reconcile. Who do you think you are? Who do you think has to report to this Deanna dummy? She can't even write an article properly, where the publisher actually stands. Was the impact of Comicsgate has had on marginal creators? Was the impact has had? Some of whom, like, use Microsoft Word. It'll fix this for you, Deanna. Some of whom work for Dynamite regularly, really that elusive to them. Why? Someone stand in the way of someone's hate mob and didn't agree with their hate mob on Twitter? So that's supposed to... Nick is supposed to police who... Nick is trying to pay the bills every week and give opportunities to people that don't even deserve it, apparently. So beyond that, what is he supposed to do? He's supposed to monitor who resists your hate mob? Did they think that no one would notice, or as I speculated in an earlier piece, is just about playing to every corner, regardless of political and ethical leanings, to keep selling books? Maybe eventually someone can sit Deanna down and explain the birds and bees of business to her, which is that when bills come in, you want to make sure you have the money to pay them. And then when those bills are paid off, the extra money, it's yours. You get to keep it. That's how it works. This statement seems unlikely to resolve things the way that Dynamite hopes it will. Yeah, it pulled energy out of the hate mob. That's what Nick was looking to do, and he was successful with it. Maybe some will give them a second chance. Some will give them a second. Maybe they'll be forced to hire people based on merit. Imagine that. Imagine how terrible that would be. You guys would lose a lot of opportunities, wouldn't you? So it's like with the Warren Ellis situation, where the women who are accusing Warren Ellis of abuse are saying, well, we don't want to cancel Warren Ellis. We just want to have a conversation. We just want to continue to get opportunities from Warren Ellis. Just a little bit more on our own terms without anything in return. Well, good luck with that. Many may not, especially if they don't feel the statement is enough of an apology and acknowledgement of what the real problem is. Yes, you are the real problem. Hate mobs are the real problem. The employees and freelancers who work for the publisher are, from personal experience and by other accounts, not bad people. Oh, they're not bad people? You're a bad person. You're not allowed to qualify people as good and bad people. Just because they're anti-communist, if they're anti-communist, it doesn't mean they're, quote, bad people and need to be dealt with by a hate mob. It's unfortunate that they find themselves embroiled in such a messy situation due to the actions of a few higher-ups in the company. There are no a few higher-ups. What little Deanna doesn't want to admit is that she's well aware, and don't contact her, don't bother her, but she's well aware it's about business. It's not about communist power fantasies through hate mobs. It's always been about business. That's what Nick Barucci's trying to do. He wouldn't be hiring people that didn't have merit unless he thought he could hustle and make some money off of it. Is he going to continue to be able to? Yes, because people without merit always want work. So he'll do that. He'll continue to do that. He'll do it successfully. But is he going to be accepted by other independent publishing people and Comicsgate and whatnot if he tries to come back to them? I have no idea. Would I do business with Nick Barucci if there was money in it? I don't know. Probably. To see what the opportunity was. Self-important Simon Cooper has this fascinating comment. It takes a lot of effort to fall below doing the absolute minimum required. And yes, this non-statement manages just that. I like that they also produced a list touting creators working for them and forgot to remove the ones who've made it clear they won't be working for them in the future. Well, Simey, it doesn't matter because Nick has contracts with those people. And they can decide if they don't want to do new work, but they're in business with him for as long as Nick says they are and for as long as the contract says they are. That's the way it goes in business, Simey. It's not ruled by a hate mob just quite yet. There are still some laws in the country. Scott Rowland. All right, so Scott Rowland thought it was Cecil because Deanna didn't see fit to actually write a proper article and cite the names of people. So she's just creating confusion, which is something that cancel culture feeds off of. Nick. I think this is not Nick Barucci. I don't think. I think it's totally possible that as a publisher to ignore the politics happening behind the scenes and just put out great stories and great content. Not every comic reader is following the drama on Twitter. Yes, mostly people don't care. They don't buy products, comics, services, meals at restaurants, sneakers. Well, that's not true about sneakers maybe. But they don't buy things based on Twitter mobs. And some choose to ignore it. I'm definitely for inclusion in comics. Thanks, Nick. Because we've always had it. But if a few artists on one publisher's lists are alt-right or whatever, that won't stop me from buying their books or another creative team's books. I definitely think that cancel culture has gone too far. I don't think they have to rationalize the political beliefs of every creator. Well, you're right, Nick, but it's a hate mob of cancel culture people out attacking people. And here, this little guy ARP somebody. Cancel culture isn't a thing according to ARP. Well, it is according to dictionary.com. But according to the hate mob, they don't like you talking about cancel culture. So don't bother the hate mob is what ARP is saying. Jeffrey's saying, wasn't reading comics from Dynamite to begin with. This certainly doesn't change that. Yeah, if you're not reading Dynamite comics, don't read Dynamite comics. George says, cancel culture does exist, and it's done by people on the right as well as the left. It's not true. You know, it's just not, but okay. As Dixie Chicks could tell you, whatever. Martin Scorsese, and I mean, if people on the, quote, right are doing it, I don't think there are people on the left and right. There's a hate mob of cultural Marxists that want the power from trying to group together and destroy people rather than the merit of their work because they're lazy and it's easier and they weren't raised properly. I mean, that's the problem. Simon Cooper, Simon's got more to say. All right, more wisdom from Simon. Let's see what Simon says. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences from your speech. So what Simon's trying to say, listen, if we want to gather in a hate mob and attack you, you're going to need to accept that. Like, well, no, Simon, people aren't going to all accept that. And maybe that's a consequence you're going to need to live with. I can't say this name. What is it? Hashish? All right. Hashish says, I don't follow. If speech has consequences, then is it really free? Yeah, it's about being free to say it. Everything has consequences. You could be murdered in the street tomorrow, and murder is like something that's bad. You're not supposed to be murdered in the street. It could be the consequences from going out into the street. Just because something is an action, no one ever implied that there weren't consequences. The country of the United States had tremendous consequences in it trying to be built. There were tremendous difficulties for people to have the rights that we have today that other people had to fight and die for. Those were the consequences of establishing these rights. The problem is the hate mobs don't seem to appreciate that the freedom that they have and the benefits that they have to exist without merit in a society, in any kind of operating culture, to be able to exist without trying to demonstrate and competitively demonstrate your merit appropriately, is an incredible freedom that it won't go on forever, but it's a luxury that they have that they don't appreciate. George says, congratulations, Simon. You've parroted every cliche I expect from an ultra-woke, ultra-PC lefty. This is the left's current attitude, that free speech advocates are bigots who really just want to harass everyone who isn't a straight white male. Guys like you give liberals a bad name. Here's journalists, and he's a liberal. They're both liberals. Glenn Greenwald and Matt Taibbi on how the left became the right. And that link I will make sure I also put in the description. It looks like it's pretty instructive, and that was a very useful comment from George. Look at this idiot. Oh my God. Yeah, what we used to do to people like this in the past is just outcompete them, and that's what we'll do again. We'll produce better comics than them. We'll continue to grow. A merit-based system will absolutely destroy a wacky hate-based system that doesn't offer something good. If our steaks taste the best, people are going to go and they're going to buy our steaks, as long as we don't let the hate mob put us out of business. And we never will. If you want to support my work, go to collegeofthedead.com. You will find College of the Dead Graduation Day. It's shipping now, and the sequel is already in the works. And you can support the mermaids by signing up at epicmermaids.com. That's right, I publish books about mermaids. Why? Because it's a great story, and it was a cool idea, and I worked with a great creative team to put it together. That's why I'm doing a book about the mermaids. That's the freedom of being in business and being able to do what you want to do, which is what the hate mob would love to take away from us. They never will. I will see you again soon with another video and with another mermaid. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.